കൺമണി നീലയെങ്കിലെന്നിലെ പ്രകാശമില്ലേ.
Hello, hi guys, hi, welcome back to day 2 of Anyone Can Bake. Thank you for being here. Let's just give it a minute. Getting a couple more people. I'm always on time like Modi ji. Let's give it a couple more minutes. Cool, I think we'll let's start. So it's been really amazing. I've gotten a whole bunch of pictures and videos and all of that, and it's been brilliant with the way all of you guys have responded, and I'm so happy to see the starters, and they're looking so good. Some of you are looking really nice, some of you are looking not just the best. Hi Surya, hi Rona. Do you have music playing? No, I stopped the music. I'm thinking I'll do that. I want to share some of my favorite music with you guys on Spotify. I'll share a playlist sometime. Beautiful music I found in the lockdown. Anyway, so like I was saying, yesterday I had over 2,500 people who actually visited my profile, and that's insane. That's never happened. So thank you so much. It's brilliant that there are so many people who came and saw everything that we were doing. Thank you so much for being a part of all of this that we're doing and supporting my work. I love it. It's brilliant. We've just to recap what we did yesterday. We spoke about sourdough a little bit. We did the basic sourdough feeding, and that's as much as we did. But I got a ton of messages yesterday saying that somebody couldn't follow, or they didn't have the ingredients that they needed and they want to do it later. So what I've done is I've downloaded the whole thing and I've put it up on YouTube. I've started a YouTube channel as well. So I've put the link on the bio of Project Sweet Dishes page, so please go and check it out. You have to go and like, subscribe and share that stuff, because it will help you. One second, sorry about the noise. It will help you. It will notify you every time there's something. That's the only reason why I'm telling you. There's a little bell icon there which you can click, so that keeps you updated about all the notifications, because we're going to put a ton of stuff there. So there's a lot of things going to keep happening on that page. So, and all my different pages are going to have different kind of content. So YouTube's going to have different stuff, Instagram's going to have different stuff, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. Go find me on everything. Everything's going to have different content. Our Instagram channel, also please go and subscribe to the IGTVs, to the posts and the notifications of the stories and the posts, because we're going to start putting a lot of stuff to help the community. We're going to do a lot of baking. The whole idea of Anyone Can Bake is to help everybody bake and keep themselves entertained, and of course for it to be baking therapy. So a couple of things I missed yesterday telling you about sourdough, and I was getting a couple of questions as well about this, and why it's so good to actually eat that is because because of the amount of acidity in that bread, it actually softens the amount of gluten. It cuts down on the amount of gluten that is actually present in that, and it denatures the gluten a little bit. It's a little bit of a love and hate relationship in the sourdough with the acidity and what it has to do with it. I'll explain more about it when we go ahead further in the days. It's going to get a little technical as we keep going on, but essentially it helps people with gluten intolerance digest it. This is not gluten free, don't take me wrong. If you have celiac disease, if you've been diagnosed with proper celiac disease, do not go and eat sourdough and tell me that Ritvik told me so I ate sourdough and I'm sick. That's wrong. If you're sensitive, gluten insensitivity, eating sourdough is good for gluten insensitivity because it reduces the amount of gluten that you have in your bread, so it's fantastic to eat. So I didn't tell you that. And I'll also tell you why you're in good company by learning all of this, and why this is adding so much value to your life is because, if you see, in South India, we've been making dosas, idlis, appams for years and years. And if you look at it, the whole objective is to actually put some sort of sourness in the food and create that whole concept of eating food that's pre-fermented, because it actually softens the impact of that food on your gut. Ayurveda has proved this years and years and countless number of hundreds and thousands of years before, and we're just kind of rediscovering everything. So that's why you're in really good company learning all of this stuff. Today, so first off, I'm going to address a couple of questions that have been coming to me, which I think is going to be really helpful to all of you guys. First thing is about sourdough that's not rising. First, let me show you my sourdough. It's bloody embarrassing, but the sourdough that I taught you guys how to do, mine is only that much. Okay, it's 1 second, this weird light. Can you see? That's all mine has risen, and it's pretty shady. Yeah, so that's not bad. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make here. It's not bad. What we have done yesterday is we have brought in the yeast, we have brought in the lactic acid bacteria, we've got both of them to mingle, and both of them have started doing their job. Now what's happening here is the yeast is in play. The yeast is what is allowing this thing to rise. If you look at it, what's happening is it is actually, you can see the bubbles here. Yeah, so that is actually an indication that your sourdough is actually, the yeast has come alive, and the yeast is actually doing a pretty good job of doing whatever it's supposed to do. Further from here, what we need to achieve is we need to push this yeast culture to support the lactic acid bacteria. Now I'll tell you why this is important. It's important that you guys understand this, so bear with me for a couple of minutes. It's going to be a little bit of science, but it's important that you understand this, right? So yeast, anything that's acid, primarily does the job of denaturing. That is the job of an acid. So when I'm introducing lactic acid bacteria with yeast, it kills the yeast. It does not allow it to thrive, and it doesn't allow it to be healthy. So since we are trying to elevate the amount of lactic acid bacteria in this, what we're going to do is we're going to allow the yeast to grow, and the lactic acid bacteria strain in this culture that you're trying to grow is going to be growing side by side. So they're going to keep increasing like that. At one point, what's going to happen is the yeast is going to start getting stronger. It's going to start taking properties from the lactic acid bacteria, and the acidity, the strain inside is going to allow itself to become a much stronger yeast, which can actually take the acid load that is going to come from the amount of acidity that you're trying to put in here. And if you look at it on a pH scale, anything below 4.2, which is in the acid range, pH 4.2, that is a really safe, pathogen-free sourdough starter that you're going to have. And so that's why it's going to take X number of days to build your sourdough starter. A lot of people, I see y'all are getting so excited with it growing in size, and I'm so happy y'all are getting excited, but that is not the yeast strain that we want, because if we get excited and if we hurry up at this point, what is going to happen is your bread is going to rise and then it's going to fall, because the yeast is not going to allow the acidity to thrive in the bread, and the acidity will kill the yeast. So if you got all of that, give me a thumbs up and we'll move ahead. If you didn't, I will re-explain it later on another video, or I'll do something about it. Okay, so that is a little bit of that yeast. Some of you might have seen discoloration. That's another big thing that I've got from a lot of people, that their sourdough is discolored and oh my god, it's dead. It has not died. You are creating that yeast. The yeast has a decent shelf life and it will not die that fast. So don't worry about the discoloration. That is only happening because of the oxidization reaction. Oh, thank you guys, so many smart people. Thank you. I'm happy you guys got it. So the yeast, so the sourdough, if it's drying up, it's only oxidization. It's as simple as, like, if you're ever making like atta at home to make chapati or roti or whatever, if you keep it outside, because of the oxygen hitting the surface, it's going to dry up. Yeah, I'm doing just that. I'm explaining the skin formation. So the skin formation is purely coming because of the oxidization that's happening. Oxygen is touching the surface and it has gotten really dry. So that's perfectly fine. Today's Risen too much. Oh, that's great. If it's risen so much, it's fantastic. That's not a problem. That is just the yeast. Maybe your atta is really good, and it's kind of allowing for that natural yeast to thrive. So it's good. It's really good. But going on from today, the process that we are on, and why I'm doing this with you guys every day, is to make you understand that the yeast strain needs to be strengthened, and the feeding that we're going to do every day is going to support giving that strength. Think of it like the yeast is going to the gym inside the jar. It's just going to give it more strength, and the lactic acid bacteria is going to kind of take over and give its properties to the yeast, and is going to allow it to strengthen up. Yeah. So I'm on day 10. Day 10 is too far away. I mean, we are with everybody at day 2, so we're going to take it with day 2 with everybody. You can DM me separately, and we'll take your topic separately. Yeah. Then apart from that, one very important thing that I want everybody to do, which has really helped me in my career so far, is to keep a little notebook, which is going to be your sourdough journal. Write down everything. Sniff your sourdough, smell it, touch it, feel it, see the consistency. Write down your little notes, whatever comes to your mind. You don't need to follow the same nomenclature that I'm using for everything. Pink spot. You have a pink spot. That's not good. I mean, if you have a pink spot, it's probably molding, but molding shouldn't be happening this fast. There's obviously something wrong there. If you have a pink spot, start over. I wouldn't continue with that, because after 10 days, if it goes bad, then I don't want that to be not too good. So today, like I was saying, the sourdough journal, very important for you to have it. It really helps you. If you because what happens is when you read every day what you've done and look back in hindsight, it kind of helps you figure out saying what you've done right and what you've done wrong, and it kind of helps you figure out where you could have done something right and something wrong. Okay, so sourdough journal, very important. Write what you think about your starter today, what it smells like, what it feels like, what the consistency is like, what color it's like, everything. Write down everything about that. Okay, that's also great for any other skill that you may want to learn. Another question that I got was about the flour mixes. We're going to get to the actual part of what we are here for. I'm getting to that in just about 5 minutes, but before that, I'm going to clear up all the questions that I've got on my DM, so I can just put it out there. These are the important ones that I got, so everybody can benefit from it. It's okay if it collapses, don't worry about it. We're going to do something drastic with the thing today. You'll see. It's okay, don't worry about collapsing today. Collapsing is we'll get to collapsing. Collapsing is a much later problem to deal with, but it's not an issue. I mean, to long answer cut short is collapsing, no problem, nothing will happen. Whole grain flours and maida, why we're using a mix? I'll tell you why we're using a mix. Like I said, the small percentage of atta is allowing the good yeast from the bran to come into your sourdough mix. Okay, if it's pure maida, since it's refined, you're losing out all of that good yeast that you can actually use. It doesn't mean that you cannot do it with maida alone. You can do it with maida, but the deal with that is it will not happen as fast as we're trying to do. We're basically trying to put this on the highway, saying let's get this done as soon as possible, because my only thing is I don't want the lockdown to finish, people going back for their jobs, and then we don't have a sourdough ready. I don't want that to happen. I want to try and get this done within this lockdown period, and that's why we're kind of kickstarting it. And so that's why we're putting atta into it. Whole atta is also something that you can do, but it is going to be much more denser. Understand that at a molecular level, there is going to be a lot of bran that actually is not going to act the same way maida does. So literally, when you're gluten, what's happening is when you're adding water, the gluten formation starts on its own. It's a natural process. You don't need to do any kneading to form gluten. So when you add water into flour, what's happening is the gluten structure is kind of created. So when it's rising, the gluten is giving it strength to kind of rise like that, not fall back on itself. Now when you do whole atta, because it's very heavy, and B, like I told you, if you look at atta under a microscope, you will see really tiny projections on it, which is sharp, which will so every time it tries to break, it's going to cut that gluten. So gluten is like little strands like that. So imagine your atta going and cutting it like that. Every time it will cut, so when it cuts, it kind of falls back. So that is the only reason why people with atta starters are not able to see the kind of aeration. They're not able to see the kind of rise that everybody else is seeing, because it's kind of collapsing into itself. But that's no problem. You are still putting in good yeast, and you are still putting in lactobacillus inside your starter, which is still good. Okay, so don't worry about that. Whole atta is perfectly fine. If you have some maida, or if you can source some maida, there are a lot of people delivering. Please get some before you take it. Sanitize it. Don't catch the corona. It's horrible. So see if you can get some atta. It's great. You can be in line with what all of us are doing. So try that. Okay. Why bread made out of atta is really dense, I'll tell you that also. Let me give you a very simple example. Okay, Indian culture is very smart. So years and years before, when people started eating rotis, why do you think rotis are in a flat shape and rotis are not in like a bread format? It's only because when you use a whole grain, it's smarter to actually take that roti, flatten it out and eat that makes so much more sense, rather than to eat a large dense loaf. When you chew into it, it's bloody big, it's difficult to chew, it's difficult to eat. All of that is happening. That is the only reason why atta dough was made. It was flattened out into something really, really thin, and they've made it, they full out it as much as possible, and then they ate it. And that's precisely what happens. But when you make bread, I see a lot of people who come and say, hey, this is too dense, this is too heavy. It is going to be heavy. It's a whole grain, it's great for you, it's good for you to eat. And that is why dating back, if you actually look in hindsight, we have our culture. Indian culture is very, very smart, and we kind of figured out all of this much before science has kind of refigured out everything right now. So every time you think about a whole wheat bread or a whole grain bread being very, very dense, think about this example of the chapati, because that is what our forefathers have kind of given to us and said, hey, you know what, this is supposed to be flat, and it's flat for a reason. So that is that. And you guys can shoot your questions if you want, and I'm going to explain what we're going to do today. So today is free day. We're not going to do anything special to our sourdough. No feeding today. We are still trying to catch more yeast inside this. Okay. I know it's a little warm out there in most cities right now. It's summer, but this sourdough is a little bit of a trickster. It kind of acts up. So I know for y'all, some of y'all, it's kind of risen and it started to fall. Like even for me, like there's a little bit of a fall on my sourdough, which is perfectly fine. What I want you to do today is take a spoon, mix it nicely, and transfer it to another clean dry jar. Okay, clean dry jar. That's what you need to do, because keeping it in the same jar kind of gives it the possibility of catching mold at this point, because there's more yeast than lactobacillus. Anisha, I did a recap already. It's on my link. The link is on my bio of not mine, but Project Sweet Dishes bio. You can go check it out there. Plus, I've answered a bunch of questions on the stories as well. So that's the whole recap. You can see it over there. So stir this up. Take a new jar. Pour this into that. Can you please show the mark made to show the amount of rice? My mark is right here. Is right here. So mine barely rose, but Nakul sent me a picture today. A couple of people sent me pictures today, like Taz Tanuj, my friend. He sent me a picture today. He made one with yogurt. He made one with honey. And also, please, I got a couple of friends who are like super overachievers in their life. I went with them to college, so they do some really fancy stuff. These guys are professional chefs, so they're doing stuff because they understand the concept really well. Much that I love, talking to them and working with them about all these really fancy concepts. My objective is to help the Aam Aadmi. Yes, Taz, you are Taz, we know who you are. But cool. So my whole objective is to help everyone who doesn't know too much about the topic. So anybody who's going out of syllabus, forget it. It's okay. You don't need to look at what they do and get insecure about it. Perfectly fine. Let them do what they do. That's perfectly okay. So anybody's is doubled, tripled, quadrupled, purpled, whatever, it's fine. It's okay. There's no problem about it. You have yeast. As long as there's a little bit of a indentation going up and down, you're good. You're in good company. No problem. Just let your starter go for another day. Tomorrow we will do one more feeding. As we keep going ahead, we're doing one feed a day. Okay, right now we're doing one feed a day because your starter at this point needs that much of time to eat up the yeast, to create the carbon dioxide, to allow lactobacillus to shine through, to give you enough lactic acid to give you that sourness. So it's good. Don't worry about it. There are a few chefs who feed their starters every 12 hours. Yes, we will be doing that ourselves. All of you all will be doing every 12-hour feeds maybe on the 5th or the 6th day, because that's the point your shitty yeast will start dying, and the better yeasts, which are actually strengthened, the more mutated form of the yeast, that is the Avenger wala yeast that will come to it later. So that yeast will actually start working, helping you guys out. So that yeast culture is going to come on the 5th or the 6th day. That will kick in, and that's when you will consistently see your sourdough rising and falling. So anyway, I'm not going to trouble all of you all with that right now, because that will get too technical and more insecurities will happen. So let's not get there. So like I said, take your sourdough, mix it with a chammach nicely, take a spoon, take a ladle. If your hands are clean, which I'm sure it is now, because everybody's washing their hand 100 times a day. If you're not doing it, please do it, and mix it up, and then put it in another jar. Okay. Ratio of size of jar to use, don't think too much, man. Don't worry about it. Any jar, like I saw someone in like an olive, like old olive bottle, they had this much, so it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Just don't waste ingredients. It's very precious. There are a lot of people without food at this point. It's a sin to waste any food, so don't waste all the leftover. That also I need to tell you, the reason why we're doing only 30 grams is because there is going to be a little bit of wastage. Your good name. Hi, my name is Ritvik. So there is going to be a little bit of wastage that we're going to do. It's unfortunate, because at this point you can't use this sourdough anywhere, but once your sourdough actually starts getting better after 6 or 7 days, you can actually take a little bit of that and then use it in dosa batters and idli batters and any batter, whatever you want to. Just put it in your chapati also, no problem. It'll taste much nicer. Okay, we're going to spend that's pretty much it for today. I don't want to flood your heads with more information today, because that's going to be really difficult. I will take another 5 minutes of questions for anybody who has any, because I don't want to keep this too long. I have a problem. I talk way too much if I was given a chance. So, pop up Melbourne, come back soon. I will. I want to come back to Melbourne. I want to move to Melbourne if possible. Is it necessary to transfer to another jar? Yes, it is very necessary to transfer to another jar, because this is literally something, it's half and half, right? It's somewhere it's going spoiled, somewhere you're kind of creating good bacteria. It's like I said, the whole sourdough process is a love and hate relationship. It's got two extremes. We strive to be on the positive side of the extreme, so it is important to put it into another jar. It prevents mold, and basically tomorrow if you look at it, and then if it has blue spots, if it has gray spots, then it's a waste of your 2 days and waste of good ingredients. So it is important to shift jar, very important. If there is a pink spot, there is no way to salvage it. My only thing is try doing it. Because my whole thing is don't waste. So try using it. If you can use it, great. If it works out, fantastic. If it doesn't work, you're losing 2 days and you won't be in line with the rest of the class. So class 9, cool, you guys are a class now. So do we transfer to new jar every day? No, not required. This is only today because it's the first couple of days, so that's why it's a new jar. And room temperature here in the hills is quite less here, being cold and all, so will that affect the starter? Yes, very nice question, Namrata. Thanks for that question. So being cold, like I said, we need about 30 degrees for this. 30 to 35 is fantastic, because like I said, liquid starter is what we're making. Liquid starter and 30 to 35 degrees pushes your lactic acid on the higher side, which means you're going to get a very interesting sourness in it. When your sourdough goes high in acetic acid, what happens is it smells more vinegary. It smells it's a little off-putting, like if somebody's had the sourdough from San Francisco, like the San Francisco sourdough, that is higher on the acetic acid side. So personally, it's a personal choice. See, it's a complete personal choice, but colder weather means slower fermentation. It does not work as well. My only idea that I can give you is find the warmest spot in your house, or what you can do is maybe take like a big vessel, maybe a very a thick bottomed vessel or something that has thick walls that can retain heat for a while. Heat it up, cool it down till you can touch it nicely with your hands. So that should be about 30-35 degrees. It should be just about room temperature, and kind of just put it over your sourdough. If your starter is like this, just take that warm vessel and put it on that. So what's going to happen is the radiant heat from that thick vessel is going to help keep this warm. Okay, so that's my advice for room temperatures. Where can I read more about sourdough? Everywhere. Oh, that also brings me to something very important. I got a couple of people who kind of crept into my DMs and said, hey, you're doing something that this person doesn't do or that person doesn't do. Stop doing that, honest to God, because growing sourdough and doing sourdough is like literally, it's like growing a child. You can never grow up. Everybody cannot grow up a child the same way. I have a sister. I'm super awesome. My sister is little less awesome, but still, I mean, it's different, right? There's a different way that everybody does their stuff. Essentially, it's the same thing, but I am just here to give you concepts to clear out the basics, and that is my objective. My objective of doing this is to kind of come up to you and give you the absolute basic essentials so that it will equip you to do something great in the future and not just give you a recipe. I don't want to do that whole, I want to teach you to fish so that you can eat for the rest of your life rather than just handing out a fish to you directly. So there's no point in me saying, hey, you know what, this is the recipe, do it. I want to share how to do it so that you guys can understand why it's such an important process and how to do it. So for all those people sending me messages saying I do stuff differently, thank you. I do my stuff differently. After quarantine, you have to consult for me. Sure, done. I will DM you separately. We will do that for sure. Why didn't you change the jar till now? I am not changing the jar because I am speaking to you. After this, I will go change my jar. Perfect Sourdough on Facebook is great. Go join, learn. Yeah, Perfect Sourdough is a great community to learn. Show Mr. Humility person. Thanks, Ma. My sister should whack. Okay, cool. So I guess we've got all the questions out of the way. But keep it coming, guys. Keep sending me pictures because it's brilliant. Everybody is learning from what you do. And that is the only reason why I'm asking you guys to share. Share whatever you're doing. Because anything good that you do or any mistake that you do helps the rest of the people who are on this forum to learn. It helps everybody to grow together. Okay, so there's no need to be selfish. So you can send me all the pictures that you want to send me, and I will keep posting it. Go on the YouTube channel that I made. The objective is to keep showing you good stuff. Go on the Instagram channel, subscribe to all the stuff. You will see great pictures of desserts and bread. We will start putting recipes out there more frequently, and that's going to keep happening. Where can we read more about sourdough? I didn't tell you. So just Google it, man. Google has enough and more resources about sourdough. Just type sourdough and go through everything. There's a lot of crap, there's a lot of good. You can kind of ask me what to do and I'll tell you what's right and wrong. pH meter, not necessary at this point. We don't need to get there because I will teach you by using just your senses how to kind of judge whether your sourdough is good or bad. Smell it today. All of you guys, you have to smell it. It smells like shit. It's horrible. That is the horrible yeast that's coming. That's not your lactic acid. It's horrible. It's disgusting. And also I saw a lot of pictures where you have kind of kept your lids like that. Don't do that. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why it's oxidizing unnecessarily. Just take anything. My whole thing of telling you about the lid was just to make sure it's loose. Like I have a much bigger fitting lid here and it's like that. So don't worry about it. And yeah. What's the YouTube channel called? It's on Project Sweet Dishes bio, so you can go and check it out there. You can click and you can do that. Quick stir and jar shift. Yes, that's exactly what you need to do. So thank you guys. It's 5:30 and my commitment was for half an hour. So yeah, I know I dropped the lid. We have to figure it out. My mom had a great idea. She said we'll take a magnet and then take it out. So we'll try. We're going to try it today. So tomorrow same time, 5 should be good. Actually, let's see if we can do it earlier. Let's do it at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, 3 is good. Let's do it at 3 tomorrow because we'll do a feeding tomorrow. It's important. So same thing. Please come with the jar. Please come with the maida atta mix that we have. 1:1. Same. I mean, sorry, the 70-30 ratio that we had. Please keep that. You need some water, tepid. So water, your atta maida mix, bowl, jar, your hand whisk, whatever, just to mix. Keep that with you. I'll go change my jar and not feed it today. You're an ass, so you can do whatever you want to. Cool, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been great. Also, thank you so much for helping me get over my camera fear, because people who know me really well know I'm bloody scared of the camera and I'm super camera shy. So I feel much better doing all of this. So I only have all of you guys to thank. Thank you so much. Light candles. Oh yeah, all of you should do that. I think it's really important to show some solidarity and that we're all together in this. And there's no need to be morose about it. Whether you're pro BJP, anti BJP, doesn't matter. It's a complete matter of being humane. It's a matter of being together. If you're in India, 9 o'clock, do the candle, do the torchlight, do whatever. I mean, but do it. It's all good. Yeah, it's nice to be happy in life. There's no point in being morose and sad and spreading hate with everyone. So cool. If anybody wants to come live with me tomorrow, I don't know where's Amit Shah. I don't know where Amit Shah is, man. So if anybody wants to come live with me tomorrow, let me know on the DM. So we'll probably figure out so that we can have a constructive conversation that can help everybody. So if there's anything important, let's discuss it prior on the DM so I can take somebody on my live tomorrow. So cool. Thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. 9 o'clock. Don't forget, 9 minutes. See you all. Thank you so much. Bye.